am honored to be the first and hope that it encourages more diversity during this time.
Ray Bryant is proud to be a voice for the community.
First of all, I want to say I'm honored to represent the citizens of Buda on the city council here in Buda, Texas. And I'm also thankful to be recognized as the first black to be on the Buda City Council. You know, I never really gave it a lot of thought because the community here have always welcomed and embraced my wife and I since we moved here 5 years ago. My wife, Sandra, is also the first black to be a trustee, board trustee on the Hayes Consolidated Independent School District as well. And we both were committed to the cause and not to being the first.
As the first black city council member in Buda, he hopes that his visibility on the dais encourages others.
There are those that are the minority segment that would love to get involved, but they don't feel empowered enough to get involved, and they don't feel like it would matter or that it counts. And so we have a struggle there in getting more people to come out and be involved in the community and be involved in the committees that we have, that we offer, to have a voice in the direction that the city should go.
Bryant's path to the city council dais started a long way from Buda. The oldest of 5 kids, he was born in Chicago.
I was born on the south side of Chicago. It wasn't pretty. I was born in what many would refer to as the ghetto. I grew up with not very much financially or, materialistically. And when I was 13 years old, there was a young man by the name of Martin Luther King Jr. who was assassinated. And people may have forgotten, but his murders caused riots across the country in over 100 cities. And many people were murdered and thousands were injured during that time. And my mother feared for my life at that time and made the courageous decision to move me to Michigan to stay with my grandmother, who we affectionately call Big Mama. And so my mom understood that the riots increased people's fears and resulted in greater racial segregation.
Once in Michigan, he dealt with his share of racial prejudice.
I attended a predominantly white junior high school. Because I was black, I stood out, as you can imagine, like a sore thumb. As you might expect also, many ethnophilisms or racial slurs were hurled my way quite often. But many of the kids were just curious about me. And so they would come up to me at times to just feel my hair, because the texture of my hair was obviously a little different than the texture of their hair.
After high school, Bryant enlisted in the Army.
I went into the service in the Army, and when I came out I had a GI Bill to go to college, so I did that, came back to Michigan.
He ultimately ended up in Texas after some close friends moved here. He lived in Brownwood, where he got a job at the state school working with juvenile delinquents.
And then my job transferred me to Austin. And then that's how I came to Austin. I came here at a halfway house and ran that as a supervisor. And then I was able to finish my education here, went to Texas State.
Bryant went on to work for the Texas Department of Health and Human Services for several years and is currently employed with Texas Disposal Systems. For 10 years, he lived in Kyle, and that's where he got involved in politics, serving on the Kyle City Council for 3 terms.
We just can't lay around and wait for the other person to get it done. Somebody will step up, but I just am the type of person, that's the way I'm built. My wife and I both. If there's something that needs to be done, we need to find the resources or find individuals or be that individual.
Bryant is now making things happen in Buda. He says he and his wife, Mrs. Sandra Bryant, believe it's important to empower the younger generation.
I think that it is a responsibility of all of the adults, us, regardless of your background, to reach out to those young people, to be mentors to them in one way or another, to help them with their self-esteem, to help them feel good about themselves, because I believe that's where it starts.
As we celebrate Black History Month, Bryant says the key is knowing our own history and taking the time to learn about other cultures.
In school, we're taught history, but it's all concentrated on European history. And that's kind of where the biggest focus seems to be. But I think it's really important. I think some states are changing that where they start talking about other cultures in the mandatory history classes. I think that's really precious. I'd love to see the Black history as mandatory as the European history, or Asian or Hispanic, so we all learn about one another. The more we know, we don't know what we don't know. And so it's really important to learn and be open-minded and embrace other people. Well, I want people to understand the importance of diversity in the community. I don't want people to feel like I did when I was going to school, isolated, different, and on the edge of society. I want people to feel inclusive. We have a time that we all need to get involved and help grow our city and point it in the right direction.